Well, good evening. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Yeah, much cheerier than a Monday, although Monday wasn't so bad this week. Not in the evening anyway. So it's nice to see everybody here. Hello, Always Grateful. Hello, Grace Case, D Rabbits, Mousy Files, Tony Regime. Let's see who else. Oh, Rocket Couch, Aaron Reese coming in. Thank you so much. It's good to see everybody. Gonna be very interesting today. Um, You know, I did a lot on Scientology already. And I know when you guys probably saw the thumbnail, you're like, ah, man, more Scientology? Like, here we go. Well, we are still waiting for the sentencing of Danny Masterson. And there were particular reasons that I covered that case. One of them being the way Scientology tried in the beginning to enter evidence with their lawyers of Scientology and then try to say, well, you can't talk about Scientology. So, like, that hooked me right away. Not to mention statute of limitations and the culture that behind Scientology that kind of created the environment that the crimes actually occurred in the acceptability of it, which kind of turned my stomach and made me want to investigate a little more into what it was all about. So that's why we went into Masterson. Well, you might be wondering why Leah Remini? Like, she's been out there forever, right? Leah Remini hasn't been a Scientologist since 2013. She's been an advocate for those leaving Scientology, for finding their way, for trying to stop the harassment. She's also been an advocate to try to find out what happened to Shelley Miscavige, who was her good friend. A lot of this goes back to that story that some of you may not be familiar with. But she also did her series with Mike Render. They did that long series, like talk, interviewed many people, ex Scientologists, people that were torn from their families, persecuted, harassed. This has been ongoing since 2013 when she left. Scientology. Well, she's suing now because it's just getting to the point where it won't stop. Okay. And also, she's starting to see some, if like me, she's paying attention to the media and all, she's starting to see that people are starting to question the tactics that are being used by this organization and how they are trying to weaponize their status as a church to get away with it. And, that can be legally a quagmire. That can be good and bad. But if you're going to have non-profit status as a church, you shouldn't be paying people off to do with that money, do illegal things. And that kind of in this lawsuit, suit is a little bit of what Leah Remini gets into. But on that, the first thing that I wanted to do, hey Liam, nice to see you. The first thing I want to go over is why I want to cover this case because let's be honest, this is a Scientology case. We're going to be hearing about it for a long time. How many years did you hear about Masterson? At least 2 years, almost 2 years with me, at least a year plus. From before they filed the investigations, the stuff that was going on, and then, once they finally got the suit, at least with this one, we're already up to suit. But from Leah's own words, I'd like to read you as to why this suit is going on. And maybe from that, especially the last paragraph, you'll understand why I want to cover it. So this is from Leah Remini's Substack, which I've linked in the description. I'm a subscriber. She put this out publicly on Twitter and all the platforms for everyone. She wants everyone to understand why she's going forward with this. So she says, after 17 years of harassment, intimidation, surveillance, and defamation, I am filing a lawsuit against Scientology and David Miscavige. While advocating for victims of Scientology has significantly impacted my life and career, Scientology's ultimate objective of silencing me has not been achieved. Although this lawsuit is about what Scientology has done to me, I am one of thousands of targets of Scientology over the past 7 decades. People who share their experiences in Scientology and those who tell their stories and advocate for them should be free to do so without fearing retaliation from a tax exempt cult with billions in assets. The press has a right to report about Scientology without facing a sophisticated intelligence operation from Scientology that could destroy their personal lives and careers. Law enforcement authorities have a right to investigate crimes in Scientology without fearing job loss. Children, mothers, aunts, and uncles have a right to request welfare checks on their family members without fear of an operation activated against them by Scientology for doing so. Those in the entertainment business should have a right to tell jokes and stories without facing an operation from Scientology that uses its resources in Hollywood to destroy their lives and careers. With this lawsuit, I hope to protect the rights afforded to them and me by the Constitution of the United States to speak the truth and report the facts about Scientology without fear of vicious and vindictive retribution against which most have no way to fight back. And then she put the full complaint out free to everybody. Okay. She filed that lawsuit. Okay. Now, this is the part right here. The complaint alleges that attacks on Remini were activated by at the operations of special what is it? The Operations of Special Affairs, OSA, and their operatives under Hubbard's OSA network meant to totally restrain and muzzle, obliterate, and ruin utterly her, and demonstrate a pattern and practice of harassment, defamation, and abuse. In her lawsuit, she lays out a myriad of ways in which Scientology leaders and agents, beginning way back in 2016, 7 years before she left Scientology, and it alleged financed and coordinated campaign against Remini, her family, her friends, businesses, partners, associates, advertisers, proposed future advertisers, future employers, and support office staff who have never even met her. And these are Leah's words right here that kind of got me into this following this lawsuit. And she says, and I quote, "With this lawsuit, I hope to protect my rights as afforded by the Constitution of the United States to speak the truth and report the facts about Scientology. I feel strongly that the banner of religious freedom does not give anyone license to intimidate, harass, and abuse those who exercise their First Amendment rights." Yep. The OSA is the Church of Scientology organization called the Office of Special Affairs. And it is the one that they actually use that has all the guidelines on how to target suppressive people. On the people that are against Scientology. That is where fair game, you hear that term a lot. That is where all the regulations and all of the issues about fair game are in there, in how they actually ask people or show people, who's doing what social media wise and who needs to be contained. It's the Office of Special Affairs. Apparently, it's the intimidation squad, the rabbits, because it gets repeatedly mentioned over and over again, not only in the lawsuit, but in all the lawsuits in regards to harassment. And it was brought up in the Masterson lawsuit also. It doesn't have any weight legally. It's an internal church organization, from what I understand. Rabbits, it's one of the connect the dots. You know how in church organizations they have separate organizations for everything, but it all kind of links back to the main. It's kind of like that. Hubbard made this special office, the Office of Special Affairs, for like the investigators or the people that do the harassing and the tracking and the finding out where everybody is. From reporting that we've seen all over the place in regards to many people who have left Scientology or became associated with them in some way in a negative light, they have reported to being followed, investigators digging everything up, their trash stolen, their homes broken into, all kinds of things like this. And all of it comes out of that Office of Special Affairs. So it's apparently like, it's kind of like the internal dirty deeds done dirt cheap, or however they pay for them over there. Yeah. Yeah, the ones doing the audits. No, that's actually a different department, but you get what I'm saying, Rabbits. Like, yeah. There are those that are actually doing the auditing to try to, get the people. You see, if you're getting audited, you're still in Scientology. The Office of Special Affairs deals with the people who are out of Scientology. It is a group of Scientologists and people who work with Scientologists who are actually monitoring and tracking, and all of that, the ones who are no longer Scientologists or who they believe are causing damage to the Scientology image. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. Mm. Strawberry banana. That's nice, Rocket. That's how I'm going to interpret that, as like strawberry banana. SP, suppressive persons. Exactly, Grace. Hello, Wrecker. Nice to see you here. Liam, it's nice to see you too. Thanks for joining. Such a subtle department name, isn't it? Like Aaron, the Office of Special Affairs. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is quite. Yeah. Let me take this down now. Okay. Bring just me back up. Okay. So that's part one. Well, you know that once this lawsuit got filed, and by the way, it was filed on August 2nd. I wanted to wait to see what happened a little bit before I covered it. I also wasn't sure I wanted to, and you all voted that you wanted to hear more about it. So here I am, and I am intrigued. I was going to follow it anywhere because of, that statement. But don't you agree that, like, our freedom of speech to say things is one thing. It's not without consequence. If what she says is not true, then Scientology can come back at her with their own kind of lawsuit. But the way that they've been intimidated and harassed, this is not the only story we've ever heard in regards to this. I mean, even in the Masterson trial, we heard tons of harassment. We heard like issues about the Los Angeles Police Department and whether or not Scientology was actually trying to control what information was released and not. All right. We actually had a couple of witness intimidation issues. We had an issue where the actual information in regards to discovery was released to a third party not related to the case. Nick, yeah, there was some shady stuff going on, and that was just in the Masterson trial. There's so much more in all. Tony Ortega has been following a lot of the lawsuits, a lot of the civil lawsuits that have been filed against Scientology lately. And I think from the start, especially with Masterson, I saw quite quickly that they are a tree killing machine. And I mean that in the amount of paperwork that they cause. Scientology has enough money and a legal department that they just throw everything they can at a suit. They will tie you up financially for a long time. Now, a lot of their claims, they are very good, they're lawyers, but a lot of them didn't go through. They actually took the Masterson part all the way to the Supreme Court to try to find out on whether or not they could be prosecuted because they were a church. You see, they wanted to say that the women couldn't even press charges because they had a church contract. That didn't work. Then they wanted to bring evidence of that church contract into the court, but then not have it used against them later by the prosecution as to why the statute of limitations was bended because they weren't allowed to come forward. So they entered their own book and policies into evidence and then complained when it got used against them and tried to get it taken back out. But that doesn't make much sense to me. If you're going to enter it, you enter it. Like everybody gets to use it. But apparently they thought they had special rules. Well, anyway, you cannot commit a criminal act, whether you be a church or not, and think you're going to get away with it. There is no shield or protection from the law coming after you if you do things that are illegal. There may be delays based on what you do for the government or what they're doing, but you're not going to get away with it completely. You don't get a free pass. And that is part of this lawsuit. Leah Remini has laid out a case which goes way back, and she can't file any charges against a lot of what was done to her because of a statute of limitations. But what she can try to prove is that it's an organized effort. and that it's paid for by non-taxed funds through a church. It's risky, but it looks like she could get it done. There's some things that are going to be actually provable, but there is a big hill to climb here. But I'm behind it. I want to see how far it goes. And she's a very determined person. She's been out here since 2013. Okay, more 10 years, talking about the atrocities that happen, speaking clearly and candidly, and they can't shut her up. And I think if anybody's going to get it done, I think it could be her. I think they may finally put a crack in there where everything gets exposed, and they're going to have to own up to some of this and at least lose some of that privilege of nobody being able to talk about anything. Because the law does hold up some of it. In regards to anything that happened before she left Scientology, that's under arbitration. She signed a contract with Scientology that if she ever had an issue with anything, they would go through binding arbitration rather than sue. And all it is binding arbitration is something, it's going to actually, whatever they decide has to be done. But what it does do is protect it from being out in the public, because those kinds of cases amongst themselves under binding arbitration or private, they never made public. Whereas if you file a civil lawsuit in California, it's public. And so when Scientology comes to court on this civil case for everything she's claiming that happened after 2013 and forward, what she can actually prove, defamation in the case. Because here's the thing, calling somebody a horrible person isn't actually defamation, is it? She actually has to prove untrue statements, like some of the real rumors that they pressed on her about people that left or did damage to themselves or had issues and it was her fault. Like they're going to have to prove that if they put it in writing. Well, here's the thing, Scientology doesn't exactly come out there as the church when they do it, do they? It is a whole bunch of people that look like they're unconnected because it's just a bunch of accounts. So you have to try to sit back to where it's coming from. And just like any conspiracy, you have to prove connection. You have to have the correspondence. You have to see the details. You can trace it all the way back to the money. And it looks like in that lawsuit, that's what she's trying to do. She claims in that lawsuit that the church itself used money to fund the investigations that caused great harm to people. If she can prove that, she can prove a conspiracy for criminal events because those people killed pets, interfered with people's jobs, harassed, broke into homes, stole things. We've heard testimony in the Masterson trial in regards to fake ads being taken out with people's faces and phone numbers to advertise for untowarded events from people who were assaulted. And they were placed by Scientology members, loosely linked. And I say you can't say Scientology as the whole church when it's an individual who pays for an ad. But if you can prove where that money came from and try to tie it all together, you can. Well, that you can see that that's going to be really, really difficult to do, right? It's an uphill climb. Hey, Charlie, nice to see you. Yep. Let me look at some of these compliments. And then I should get you all riled up by reading Scientology's response statement. They have a playbook which uses intimidation and tying people up in legal loopholes in side quests to waste their money or frustrate them till they acquiesce to the church's demands. Exactly. And if you left, you usually leave with nothing, without any money, without your family. Yep. Yep. Well, they did say no takebacks. Yeah, true. True, true. Yep. Leah has remained strong and true to her convictions through all of this. Yes, she has always. And that's why I want to see this through. I want to help continue the information out there. Yep. Okay, so that's it for the question things on that part. So that's good. I don't think I missed too much that anybody was asking me. All right, let me take this down. All right, so just because it's not enough that, first she has to make the statement and try to explain because she knows they're going to come out with a statement, absolutely. They're going to come out with a statement and she knew that. She knew that right away. And so she came out with hers too. And clear enough, on the second day, the very next day, Scientology put out the following in true Scientology fashion, which is the only reason I'm gonna read it because it's just kind of lit. Remember that Leah's lawsuit is all about intimidating and trying to silence somebody's voice and attacking them on a personal level just to get them not to say anything about Scientology. And so here comes Scientology, the Church of Scientology statement. This lawsuit is ludicrous and the allegations pure lunacy. Remini spreads hate and falsehoods for a decade and is now offended when people exercise their rights to free speech, exposing her for what she is, an anti-free speech bigot. Remini's complaints are like an anti-Semite complaining about the Jewish Anti-Defamation League for exposing the anti-Semites' bigotry and propaganda. Remini's obsession with attacking her former religion by spreading falsehoods and hate speech has generated threats of and actual violence against the church and its members, as evidenced by multiple criminal convictions of individuals poisoned by Remini's propaganda. Have you guys heard of any lawsuits to where Leah Remini was actually named for inciting riot against the church and causing any damage like this? I don't recall any. Do you? No. They try every time somebody does something against the church. They say it's because Leah said something. All the while, Remini has profited handsomely from her fabrications through sale of hate books, hate podcasts, and paid for tabloid hate television. Now that Remini's propaganda has been exposed, Remini has spun entirely out of control by filing a frivolous lawsuit attempting to stop free speech, exposing her false propaganda. Remini's decade of harassment and fabrications are all coming back to haunt her. If Remini can no longer get a job, she has nobody to blame but herself. Obviously, everybody in Hollywood now knows what we already knew, that Remini is a horrible person and toxic to so many who have the most fortune to come in contact with her. While Remini was in the church, she had to restrain her antisocial traits. She said so herself. That Scientology was the only thing keeping her monster at bay. Do you see how they used their training with her against her? Like in that statement right there? The church is not intimidated by Remini's latest act of blatant harassment and attempt to prevent truthful free speech. If Remini does not believe in free speech, then she should consider emigrating to Russia. Yep, that's exactly what they said. Just emigrate to Russia. Hmm. Yeah. Is all I know is there are nine charges against them that she's filing. Okay, in her lawsuit. We're not going to go over the whole lawsuit. I'm just going to let's just look at the actual charge, okay, that she's claiming. First of all, she is going after the whole Religious Technology Center, which is a huge part, Scientology International in David Miscavige. The Church of Scientology as a whole, their offshoot of Religious Technology Center, where they do all the training, and David Miscavige himself as the head. Okay. Now, civil harassment, okay, she's going to have to prove that she was dogged, she was like, being followed. She probably has a lot of evidence of this. She's got probably many tweets of people doing stuff like this, but what she has to do, if she's going to put that on the church or David Miscavige, is she's going to have to tie them in to be members or tie them in to be have some kind of evidence from within that shows that she was a targeted person. Okay. She can then she's going for stalking in California, and she put the code there, and she probably has plenty of evidence in that over the last years. She's going for intentional infliction of emotional distress. Okay. Being on the other end of an attack of unwarranted rumors and attacks on her family. They made vicious rumors about her relationships with her family after she left, about what she did within the church. But while she was there, she was exalted. She was like a main mouthpiece in Hollywood for Scientology. She was one of the prominent faces of Scientology before she left in 2013. Okay. And you know, it became quite contentious those 6 or 7 years before she left because of something simple. And it goes down to the fact that when she attended Tom Cruise's wedding to Katie Holmes and she asked where Shelley Miscavige was, everything fell apart. She immediately was treated terribly. She had to go through all kinds of therapies with them. She had to pay for her own reassessments and everything, and her own education on how things should be through Scientology. This lawsuit lays out millions that she laid out. Okay, but not once did they ever tell her where Shelley was. And her and Shelley were close before that. They spent a lot of time together. This was a prominent person that should have been at that wedding. And it wasn't unusual for her to ask. But as soon as she did, they told her to be quiet. And well, Leah Remini, if you see her personality on as an actress and how she presents herself in all the interviews, she's not one to keep quiet. Like it's a simple question, just answer it. She became suspicious. And the more that they tortured her over those 6 years, and if you read I recommend everybody read that lawsuit if you want to know what happened to her. It kind of reads like the tell-all from one of her books. She can't press charges on all of that because, like I said, that part is in arbitration with the church. And she's got to follow the agreement with that. And it'll be legally binding what happens there, but that's all going on behind the scenes too. But she's allowed to list it in context as to why, when she came out in 2013, they were already after her. It actually proves part of the story, that they are targeting her directly, that she was labeled a suppressive person before she even left, that they were actively doing things to her then. Okay. They also the torturous interference with contractual relationship. They went out of their way to contact people that were trying to work with her, to say how horrible it would be and how advertisers would go against them and how there would be a campaign against if they worked with Leah Remini. Will you interfere with someone who's making money on a deal or trying to make a deal like that? That's illegal, actually. I mean, we all know some of that goes on behind the scenes, whisper, whisper here and there. And it's not fair and it's not right. And in some cases, if you actually cause financial damage and the stuff that you're spreading is not true, let me tell you, torturous interference, you're going to have to pay for it. It's a criminal offense. Intentional interference with prospective economic advantage. Anytime anyone wanted to work with her, they went out of their way to make her an undesirable by most. Just the way that they campaigned against her Aftermath show, the thousands and thousands and thousands of letters that they got, they did actually try to intimidate advertisers to get that show pulled off the air. They put a lot of money and effort into flooding them with having to deal with their presence. And that alone could make it a disadvantage for Leah Remini because it just makes it uncomfortable for anybody to work with her, that they would have to put up with all of that. But that's intentional and torturous, and they're going to have the answer for that if it can be proven. And it is documented well during Aftermath because those producers saved it all. It was actually part of the show towards the end, if you'll recall. Defamation and defamation per se. Like I said before, this is going to be a little harder to prove. Number one, we all know that celebrities have a different status. You have to prove not only that it wasn't true what they said, you have to prove you have to prove intent to be malicious for it to be defamation. And you also have to prove you had financial loss. Now, that's that's going to be like a double-edged sword here because obviously with them coming at her so much and with everything going on, then of course, it looks like, they are definitely damaging her ability to make money. But also, is her advocacy causing that. Like, she actually came out here to speak against them. And if that became uncomfortable for advertisers, well, that would be something that she did, but not necessarily something Scientology did, even though they're the reason. Do you see the fine line I'm drawing there? Like, that could go like either way. It's going to be a little difficult, but it is shameful. I mean, they say horrible things about her, but what she has to do is tie those big articles with all those really outrageous lying complaints in there and tie those into actually coming from Scientology, and then she's got a good deal. But if they're just coming from individuals, it's going to be a little harder. She has to prove the connections. They want definition by implication. Okay. Now, false light. Okay. False light is another thing. Like, they're just like just putting everything. In other words, okay, to me, when I see that, what do you think automatically? Is that is that it's like a tort category under the invasion of privacy, where she's accusing them of spreading falsehoods that would be considered objectionable by the average person. In other words, saying something like, "Well, she's a horrible person. Do you know okay, here you go. Um, objectionable by the average. All right, you know what? She never visited her family ever while her father was dying. I don't think she got along with him. Okay. When there's evidence of like 17 visits to the hospital and it's all public and it's been on TV. All right. Some of this is like objectionable by the average person. You know it's not true. You could tell they're going out of their way to just spread crap. Okay. Falsehoods about a plaintiff that would be considered objectionable by the average person. In other words, trying to turn you against them with just negative commentary and negative false stories about them, rumors, gossip, making them look like a horrible, terrible person, you know, all of that. Mm. Hey, KCG, Christola. Hey, Beck, Commander. It's nice to see you too. Thank you all for being here. Yeah. Oh. So, false light, in US law, false light is a tort concerning privacy. It's similar to a tort of defamation. It kind of goes together. This The privacy laws in the United States include non-public persons and also their rights of protection from publicity that creates a unique, misleading impression about them. Now, that means when she wasn't out there, well, she is a public person. Okay, but this actually false light does include anybody in her family that was also represented that way, because it's not fair to them either. All right, so it's for public and non-public. Let me see if they can give me an example. Anyway, most of the false light accusations would involve creating false impression of the victim. It overlaps with defamation. It includes the defamation statements, and it can involve some of the same issues back and forth. I think this may be a way of Leah saying, you know what, maybe being called a horrible person isn't exactly defamation, but it is false light. Like, what did I do to be called a horrible person? And why are they going around trying to convince everybody I am? You know what I mean? So it's a way to get, stronger defamation case to tie up the loose ends to all the kinds of things that are happening, and just to make sure nothing gets left. And also, it should be noted that the actual tort of false light isn't recognized in all of the states in the United States. Not yet. Okay, it's only in some states, but apparently in California, where she's filing, it's fine. Oh, also a declaration of judgment by California Code Civil Procedure. She just wants to get that like all taken care of. Now, this is 60 pages long, as you can see. Whoop, it just went way too fast there. It's got quite the number of claims and everything on it. But I wanted to get down to what? Okay. She wants damages. She wants some of the money. She's claiming she's put out everything that she could, as far as to try to fight this and whatnot. And so she's entitled to some of this lost money, you know, definitely. Now, I did put this link in the chat. I mean, in the description, but I'm going to give it to you again here. That's as it so far, that is as the complaint stands. If it gets amended, I will absolutely put another one in there. But for now, that's the way it is. And I thought I had it up, but I wanted to show you the 9. I thought it was up, but it wasn't, people, because I pushed the button and it didn't work. There you go. Well, see, complaints and damages, all 9. And it is in California. Now, another interesting thing that came up in regards to this is we are we've got we went and she got filed. And part of the process when you file the complaint, of course, it's going to be the answer of the complaint will be by Scientology. It's not there yet, but it will be soon, and we will cover that. They will first try to get it dismissed as frivolous. They've already used that language in their statement. And if you recall the statement that I read, they have used language, and in that language you can see all of the reasons that they're going to bring forward to try to toss this case. That Leah brought all this on herself, that she had plenty of time to go against them and she didn't, that it should be for timely filing, it should be out, or for being frivolous, it could be out. Calling somebody horrible isn't exactly a criminal offense, all of that. This is a civil lawsuit, though. You know what that means? Time and money. Time and money. Just time and money. Yep, Christola, it's 10,000% defamation. It's like revenge. It should be taken just as seriously, and I hope that it is going to stalking in there, because that's literally stalking charging. Yes, she is going for stalking in 2 different ways. The harassment and the stalking, yes, covered under California law. She's going for it, definitely. And I agree with you that the even calling somebody a horrible person and trying to turn others away from them, that's defamation. But the actual fair light, actual part of it will cover that. Little, you know. Yep, good for her, right? Right. What the heck? She's gonna be going for it. She really is. It's gonna be a long haul, though. It definitely is. So anyway, Leah, okay, she's already had a couple of setbacks, and we haven't even heard from Scientology yet. Okay. The first setback, okay, was where is it? I just had it up here. I know I did. The judges, okay? She's already had to get several different judges, okay? Her lawsuit, okay, when she first filed the lawsuit, okay, she was awarded a judge, Judge William F. Fahey. He was the originally assigned to the case by the LA Superior Court. Okay. That was the first one. They do it like randomly. However, Leah Remini and her attorneys recognized the name of Judge William Fahey, and they filed papers asking for his removal, citing prejudice. He has apparently worked several other Scientology cases and some other things that were going on, and they just wanted him removed based on bias. Okay, so they then assigned it to Judge Barbara Shepard. Okay, who just less than a week ago recused herself because her husband, David Shepard, is a lawyer, and he's been on the Scientology payroll for quite a while. So she actually recused herself. She didn't, when she saw that she was chosen, she didn't wait for anybody to bring an objection up, but she actually recused herself. And so now we're waiting for the third lawyer. The third judge. We don't have a judge yet. Okay. So it's been about a week. I did not hear anything today. I was looking. I couldn't find the third judge's name, but we will. We will. I'm sure it will be assigned. Okay. And we'll see if that one goes through. But because it's LA and Scientology has been in LA and Hollywood for so long, um, Leah's attorneys are going to be eyeballing just about anybody that comes in the case to try to get the most unbiased case that they can. There was a lot that came up in Masterson's trial, and as much as Judge Almeida tried to keep everything out about the speculation about the LA Police Department itself, okay, Scientology ended up indicating the police department itself by filing suit about anybody to try to get anybody who testified to be quiet. They didn't want anyone from the LA Police Department to testify about reports or anything. Now, what does that mean? Exactly. If you don't want people to talk about the actual reports that are filed, what are you trying to hide? Like they go deep. I'm telling you, they definitely go deep. Their fair game thing is like they will do anything, say anything against you. And that is not just me saying that. This has been repeated by every single person who came out of there. Why would they all be saying the same thing? There is no coordinated effort between the people leaving Scientology. They come out with nothing. People have to go out of their way to find them. They're scared. they have they don't want any retribution or anything. Most people are staying. You think you hear that they have no money. They're separated from their families. If they leave, they'll be declared a suppressive person and have no contact with their family at all. No one's allowed to talk to them. No one's allowed to have anything to do with them. And if it's been the only thing you've known for all this time, could you imagine how scary? Like, I really feel for them, you know? It's it's got to be rough. Well, one of the things that Leah Remini and several of the people that came out, like Mike Rinder and all, is they advocate for groups, advocate groups, for people to actually help the people coming out and try to get them therapy and get them places to stay, try to get them hired in jobs. But it's hard because all while they're out here, Scientology is attacking them the whole time because now they're on the list and they are to be tortured, harassed. They don't want their life to be pleasant at all. They are actually setting out to ruin them. And that's what this lawsuit claims, that there is an active policy in place with actual plans and missions and things to do on how to ruin people's lives when they leave. And so hopefully we'll see that's going to all play out. Oh, let me just see. I hope that third judge gets assigned pretty soon, you know. And let's be fair. Of course, Scientology is denying everything that Leah Remini says. Okay. And there is in that lawsuit many stories in regards to what happened to her the 6 years before she even decided to leave. Back and forth, all over this incident, all over this. I mean, she searched the internet over a rumor that she heard of something being done with children, and she wanted the information and no one would talk. And she had to suffer like all kinds of money, all kinds of what they call auditing and retraining and paying for more lessons to get over that, because apparently just even thinking that you need additional information about something is a violation in the church. You're not allowed to have any answer there in the Church of Scientology about anything, you know. Um, I'm wondering if we're going to find a Judge 3 that doesn't have some kind of tie to Scientology or Remini, because she's done a lot of production. She's worked in a lot of places. She put a lot out in the area. She's been in this area for a long time. We're going to have to see, what connection isn't made to her also, because we want a judge who doesn't have any connection either way. All right. Um, I think the one thing that I read in there that really struck out to me the most is that they turned her into a suppressive person. They say she's horrible and that she never was a good Scientologist, and yet she was award winning with them. She won prestigious awards. She was named like one of the best promoters. Like, she was the face there for Hollywood. She was at all the top level functions. She had a very high esteem. They adored her until they didn't, until she asked a question that they didn't want to give the answer to. And that tells me a lot about how that turned there. It also tells me a lot about her that she stayed those 6 years because she grew up in this and she was believing that she was doing the right thing, that they were cleansing the earth. That's their thing, is that we're cleansing the earth. We do all these good deeds. We're actually like, we put our money into all these good deeds and things, and we're actually making a difference. But you're not allowed to ask about it. You're not allowed to question it. I'm sorry, Grace. I can't repeat the last 20 minutes, but you can hit the replay and put me on double speed if you like. I'm sorry. Well, I'm glad you got to speak to your mother, though. Crystal says, first of all, it's nobody's business what is in your thoughts unless you speak them. So this whole auditing thing is truly messed up because they are essentially making people tell their secrets by playing on their fears and stuff, right, Christola? On their conscience and force, basically. Yep. Yep, exactly. He was a if you're talking about Hubbard, Christola, and Tony, yes, he was a science fiction writer, a sci-fi writer before this book Dianetics came out. And actually, I thought it was a joke. I thought he was writing like how a religion would be if he could write the religion. I really thought we were going to hear that it was a joke and he just put it out there like that. But no, like I thought it was all make believe. Yep, I did. I think many did. Yep. I also know that a lot of the Scientology methods and all were taken in by other cult leaders like Keith Raniere from Nixium, and used against people, and that they have a way of speech and language. They have a hierarchy that created a horrible culture for the women who date Scientologists and that are involved. Um, we learned that during the Masterson trial. Um, so, and like, I don't want to cover it because I've got this thing against Scientology. Like, I I would have to admit I kind of do. I'm not looking at it as a very positive thing to be a Scientologist. Not when I see them hurting so many people. I'm not saying that they don't have some good things probably going on. I think they've spent some money adequately in making sure that people do see some good deeds that they do in some good work, and I hope it stays that way. But I think the damage is outweighing that. And I think we're starting to see their reputation take that hit, that the damage that they cause in the way that they are doing things and how they are doing it, like a big organized bully group about anybody who says anything against us. Um, it's starting to be seen, more very clearly. And there's more people speaking out. They kept everybody apart for the longest time, tie people up with lawsuits and finances. But as it's becoming more and more evident that confidentiality agreement against the church can't be withheld when you have a lifetime that you're asking them for, and it actually involves a criminal event, like you stalking, harassing, or stealing from them, okay, or even any bodily harm to anyone in their family, okay. um, those are all criminal offenses and should be charged out, and they kind of negate any protection you have under any agreement with the person, including a non-disclosure agreement. You can't force people to commit a criminal offense. So you can't ask them to stay quiet about something when they are asked to speak about it to authorities. You can ask, and you could probably kick them out of your group or fire them. But you can't demand that they commit a criminal act. It's just not cool. It does, Beck. It sounds like big organized. Yeah, they get their rules from somewhere, don't they all learn? Yeah. Oh, thank you, Mousy. It was cool. Actually, I really like that, that we're talking about shenanigans last video on the sister wives, and it was really good. It really was. So I don't blame you. Go out and share it. There was a poll that came out last December to rank Americans' opinions on different religions, and the Church of Scientology tied in last place with the Church of Satan. Ha! Okay. They do. Well, there you go. That's kind of interesting, KCG. Thank you. Thanks. Thanks, KCG. I'd appreciate that link. That's kind of funny. No, it shouldn't. Absolutely, Christola. It's not because the Church of Scientology. I don't believe that that is actually a religion. I do believe it's a cult. So I kind of stand with you on that one. It's not a religious stream. It's about the suit, and it's about a cult using their power. The only thing that brings religion into it is that they have religious status in the tax code, and that they are trying to hide behind that status. That I don't really feel that uh, they actually belong with. You know what I mean? I don't think it belongs there at all. It's not religious in the contents that you or I would think of religion, okay? Because they believe in a made up figure called Xenu that is going to be like an alien from another planet. You know, so I don't even know how they got that. Oh, well, then you don't have to answer that. And believe me, you know, no one has to answer for a question like that based on their beliefs. I understand that because I don't want to turn it into that. Okay. Um, I don't think that we can actually equate the bad deeds that Scientologists do with a whole group of people who just happen to believe, in a higher being. Okay. So like, yeah, because there's all different levels to that too. Yep. This is all Scientology is just also sci-fi. By the time they get up there and find that nobody ever is going to be at the top, I mean, they're just hoping you just pay and pay and pay. Nobody ever makes it up there. Okay. There's just so much. Hmm. Okay. Thank you, KCG, for sending the poll to me. Okay. That's good. Ah. I'll tell you what. I don't blame anybody. There's a comment in there that says somebody will never go back to Twitter. I don't blame them. Twitter can be like a pretty rough place sometimes. Okay. Okay, so Tony says, I think the reason that L. Ron was more successful as a cult religious leader is that Heinlein had too much self-respect and didn't want to grow a beard. Tony, really? I know because you heard that about Heinlein in Hubbard, and this whole thing about Scientology and this thing was a joke about who could start a better religion. And you know what? I actually thought it was a joke when the book came out. I really did. Oh, this is just crazy. Yeah. Ah, but that thing about the beard, I don't know. Then Elron was like, whoa. Well, Elron, he had the Sea Org and all too. He started, and that was like his kind of thing when he started moving a little bit more away from it, you know. Well, it's a little crazy. Well, anyway, that's my update on Leah's charges. I didn't want to read the lawsuit to you, but I did want to make it available to you all to read. If you have questions in any particular part, then we can go about that next week. Next week, we are going to talk a little more. There's been an update in Masterson. There was some filings back and forth and another hearing. However, the sentencing date has stayed the same, so don't worry about that. There was a little bit going on Koberger recently, too, little bit more on the Long Island serial killer. And of course, we have to stay up to date and see what's going to happen with Sarah Boone. Like, we're coming into the end of August already, going into September, and there's supposed to be plenty of stuff going on. Liam says, I mentioned that outcome of that conversation earlier. Oh, did you? About the two of them in that? Yeah, it's been, yep. I probably missed it. Yes, he is. Yes, he is, I believe. Because he wasn't arrested. Wait a minute. I don't know. No, I think he's in. I have to double check, Grace, because he was out on bond. So I don't think that they took him away immediately because, like, he's got to give in his sentence. He just has the guilty plea. And there was no sentence, so they can't just take him away to start serving it. Hmm. I don't know. Well, yeah, that Highland Hubbard thing was like really weird, back and forth. Well, shows you like you never know. You never know where somebody's mind really is at, because Hubbard really, really took that too far. Yep. No, it was hung the first time. You missed a whole second trial, Cristola. He's guilty on two of them. One of them, I'm gonna update it next week. But basically, there was a hearing this week on whether or not to do with prejudice or without prejudice on the third charge that they did not come to any agreement on. They were hung on one of the charges. The other two, guilty, guilty. Yep, I don't know. Well, anyway, on that, I wanted to keep this to just an hour. So if you guys don't have any more questions, like I said, hit me up on the back of the video. I would actually really like that if you did that. I actually should have had this up the whole time and I didn't. Again, failure on the Bears part right there. But I would like you to like, share, comment, especially if you have any questions in regards to if anything you read, if you do read the complaint and you want any explanations or anything, and I can go look for stuff for you to try to straighten it out or make sure that we cover it on the, what do you mean keep going? What do you want to talk about, Rapids? Can you think of anything criminal you would like to talk about? But I appreciate it. I appreciate it. You don't want me just running out after 30 minutes? Yep. Thank you, KCG. I appreciate that. Hmm. But just in case anybody else is going live later, some people go live later at night. I don't want to take up too much time because I did go late. I really did. Well, I'll tell you what. I did like Heinlein. I liked some of his papers actually, Tony. I thought he was pretty funny. But I hope you're not talking about Hubbard because he definitely doesn't know how the universe works at all. Like, I don't even think he was on this planet, like, when he wrote that stuff. I just can't believe that it's actually the way people are guiding their life right now. It's crazy. Oh, thanks, Rabbits. That's a compliment. That's a compliment. Hey, Nick, how are you? Good to see you. How you doing? I hope well. Aw, that's so sweet. Crystal, you're making your video, but you came to see me and say, nope, he was in a volcano. Grace, who was in a volcano? No, he was in a volcano. You mean Hubbard. Yes. Okay. I get that. Okay. He, well, I think he's a little crazy. I am doing okay, Nicholas. We covered Scientology today. Not Scientology in general, just Leah Remini's lawsuit in regards to, which is like quite interesting. It goes back 10 years that she's been out here and like 7 years before she left. That is just context that she can't actually file charges on, but it lays out quite the accusations. Yeah. Yep, all the souls from Zenith are Zenith and all of that volcano. I get it. Yep, Grace, I know. It's a little weird. Aliens. Aliens. Cristola. Xenu put all the alien thetans and volcano into a volcano with nuclear bomb. Yup, he did. And so, like, very well, if he put a nuclear bomb in a volcano, like, we wouldn't even be having this discussion. He was Liam, such an overachiever. I know. Like, he could have found a cheaper way to do it. I know, just snarky. I don't know. Space lasers. We could talk. You know what? If my friend Matthew was around, we could talk science and lasers and dinosaurs. I love talking science with Matthew from Almost the Doctor, that channel. He's like, so, well, yeah. Wrecker. Yes. I kind of agree with you, but yeah, most people have more rational thoughts after being really high or doing something silly than Hilbert ever had. But I have to say he's consistent. It was ridiculous from page one all the way through to the end. Yep. No. All right then. Okay. Isn't he a doctor now? He's pretty much a doctor. He's almost finished, Mrs. Cassandra. That's why we don't see him around really much anymore. His schedule's really crazy. So almost a doctor. He's almost finished with his PhD, actually. So it'll be soon. It will be soon. And then hopefully, all of us from Hereticals can get back together and do a couple of streams. It would be like really cool. But I do still watch all of this stuff. As a matter of fact, Jeff, Godless Scumber, just put out a new channel on history, and he had his first live stream the other day. It was really good. I suggest. It's on my Twitter. Please, I've retweeted it. Go and check it. Pancakes or crepes? Both are good, rabbits. One's just a thin pancake, isn't it? Come on, there's like a debate. That's for my debate series. By the way, I should be streaming over on Patrick the Great's channel on Thursday for the challenge. And this week it is on the worst remake. So you got any remake suggestions for me, people? I have an idea of what I want to do. I'll be working on it tomorrow. I kind of feel about a classic a certain way, and I was kind of offended at the remake that they did on it. Well, that's how it usually goes, because we're looking at worst remake of like an original movie or series when they actually try it. That one, that's getting a lot of heat. Grace, what do you think about that? Did you see it? Grease 2 was horrible. Looking for anything to keep you on rapids. You just want to listen to me. He's just looking for anything to keep you. That is very sweet. I'm quite flattered, actually. I'll talk for a few minutes. Okay. So Snow White, I do agree. The hubbub about it, like some of it is ridiculous, but if it was poorly done, and I think it was, I don't think it was well thought out. I think some of it's absolutely ridiculous, the changes that they made. It doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm kind of glad people are speaking up and panning it. Grease 2 was a bomb, KCG. It just wasn't anything like the original. Burritos or tortillas, both are good. Tortilla's open and burrito is wrapped. I would have to say my favorite out of the two of those is chimichanga, which isn't even one you listed. If it's not a nice fresh taco, I want a chimichanga, which is just a fried burrito. Yeah. I don't like a lot of remakes either. Oh, it's not out yet? Snow White? You mean they're complaining about it and it's not out yet, Mrs. Cassandra? Wow. Oh, Dirty Dancing, Havana Nights, the absolute, oh my God. They redid Dirty Dancing? Like, how could they? It was perfect. Oh my God. The Dukes of Hazzard after Bo. Wait, they did a Dukes of Hazzards after Bo and Luke left? Why would they do stuff like that? That's insane. Wow. I don't think like oh gosh, horrible. Dukes of Hazzard after Bowen. I can't even believe they do that. No, Cristola, I actually loved Barbie. I'm going to do a Barbie review, actually, I think. I just recently watched it and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Exactly, Mrs. Cassandra. Leave our old fairy tales alone, no dwarfs. Or let us twist them like we do with our twisted fairy tales, right, Mrs. Cassandra? Like the ones, right? Hey, Godless Gomer, how you doing? Coy and Vance Duke. Is that what they called them? What were they, the cousins or something? Yeah. Weird Barbie was so cool, Cristola. I loved it. But I actually like I like Ryan Gosling's take on Ken, like in his story. Like it was like, it was kind of surreal. And I really enjoyed the movie a lot. I laughed. I laughed a lot. I got like all the little innuendos, and it was what it was. It was, to me, it was hysterical. Like I was just catching all kinds of little stuff. Like in Weird Barbie's house, did you see those two dolls up there? The one that was Sugar Daddy Ken, and the other one was like Cool Ken or Crystal Ken or something. He had the feather earrings and the leather chest. Those were real dolls that they actually had to like, discontinue because they weren't very popular, you know. Oh, hi Ashley, how are you? And congratulations, you got another free membership the other day. So I'm glad to see you here. Yep. The remakes of RoboCop. and Total Recall were awful. I agree, Godly's. Like, that gives me something to think about. I'm trying to decide which is my final take for Thursday on awful remake, on the worst, on the actual worst one. And because Rabbits has been so nice to come to my streams lately and he just wants me to stay on a bit, I'm trying to make this all the way to 10:45. For you, Rabbits. 15 minutes of just talking anything with the bear for Rabbits. Yeah. Blah, 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 nah, nah, nah. I'm not listening. I haven't watched it. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Liam, I want you to watch. Liam, I will send it to you. You wanna, Liam, you should come watch it with me. You would love it. You would I think you would find it hysterical too. I do. I know. Remember that, Crystal? He's going like they're getting sexually harassed. She goes, "Oh, by the way, I have no genitals, and neither does he." And he gets all embarrassed and he goes, "Oh no, wait, don't believe her. I have genitals. I have all the genitals. I have all our genitals." It's like cracking up. When when are you starting your gaming channel? Are you talking to me? Wrecker, is that to me or somebody else? Rabbits, are you starting a gaming channel? Because otherwise, I'm gonna promote like Wrecker's Kick and tell everybody Wrecker's gonna be doing some gaming. And guess who he's got doing the commentary? Is that yes to me? Okay. All right. So then I'm pull up the Kick channel. I'm dropping it then, Book. You just opened a can of worms there because now we're gonna have everybody harassing you and you not being able to kill things. It's gonna be all your fault. Okay. Anyway, just so you know. Okay, this is Wrecker's Kick, and this week, Wrecker, put the name of the game that you'll be premiering this week when it comes out in there because I don't remember the title, but Wrecker will be premiering this new game release. He's very excited about it on there, and he's actually contracted the bear to do the commentary with him. And I'm gonna be brutal if he doesn't kill him and he don't do it right, like last week when we did it, and he was killing things, and I was like, "Could you please just kill it like you mean it? Like, come on, like, come on." It's Armored Core 6, new release coming out this week, and he's gonna be gaming it, gaming streaming it like sometime. I think I don't even know what our time is in. When we have, you know what, Record, when we have the actual details, I should put it on the community tab for everybody, and you should too, so we can tell them. Once more with feel exactly, Rocky Couch. There were these ones that I was like, I had other friends over there helping me too. They were egging me on from the chat. And I was like, "Oh yeah, do that one, like right in the eyeball. Oh, that's the one you got to stick the bomb in its mouth so it blows up. And don't forget to pull its eyeball out." Like it was like really, it was like it was so disgusting. But the funny part is that I usually am so squeamish. So in the beginning, I'm like, ew, this is gross. Like, why am I here? Why am I watching all this blood? Oh my God, look at the splatter. And then I start like about 20 minutes in, I'm like, well, we were here before. Look at all the blood on the floor. Like you never clean up after yourself. Like you leave blood everywhere. And we're walking through blood and all this stuff. It was like, whoa. Hey, right, Cristola? It sounds like fun. So, like, join up. Anybody who hasn't actually checked out Wrecker's channel, he's on a mission to get 75 followers. We're at 43 already. He wants to get into the Kick program, which will help him in the advancement of his studies in both music and engineering. And that's what he wants to do, just to get more time for that. And so I'm his mod, I'm pushing it a lot because I think it's a good thing to do. And I did enjoy doing the commentary. I'm happy to do it again. So if you want to come watch me talk about something I know absolutely nothing about while taking a piss on, on Wrecker's gaming skills whenever I can, come on by. Because he is a really good killer though. I would say, what was the other game that we played last week? Was that Doom? He's a good killer. He's definitely a good killer. Rabbits, you had no idea what you started, did you? Yeah. I hope you should join him over on Kick, Rabbits. You would love to hear if you want to just listen to me talk smack for like 2 hours. Come on by. we'll be up there. Yeah. And I was worried about saying over here, and here comes Bear, blah blah blah. Yes, I do. I just say I can't help it, Cristola. I don't yeah, sometimes it just falls out. It just falls out. Yep. Oh, it's the Fires of Rubicon. Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon. I think it comes out like here in the States like tomorrow night, midnight maybe. I'm like, yes, Kyle, go kick him. So you'd like us to kick Wrecker? No, I would like you to come to kick for Wrecker. Yes. Did I see Nightingale? The movie? I'm not sure. This sounds familiar. There was a book about a bird, the nightingale, that I read. Do you, Mrs. Cassandra, you hear him? Does he get all like crazy? A fruity drink with chili powder added. What is a fruity drink? Yeah, Rocket. Yes, come kick Wrecker over on on Kick. Those both sound like the same thing. That is the same thing. Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon is the same game. Yeah, sometimes just falls out. I'm telling you, it does. Oh, Nightingale, the game coming February 2024. Nope. I haven't seen it. Does that look like a good one? You see, I don't game rabbits. I actually just the most gaming I've done in years is watching Wrecker play some things. That's it. Or I do play OWO in golf. I play golf with friends. I thought that was fun. You may have heard about our, let me brag for like 1 second, our absolute slaughter of the asylum, the library team. Like, mm, we left a trail. They're going to have to re-challenge us. I get to say that until they win. Mm. Isn't Rubicon a river? I don't know. It does sound like one. Yep. Uh, does anyone here remember a book called Island of the Blue Dolphins, or is it just a cat? I don't recall. I don't know. The Nightingale was for Wrecker. Okay, cool. Because you tagged my name in it, so I thought it was, but I will remember it. It's called Merge Fantasy Island. That sounds like a nice game, Cristola. But anyway, the graphics from what I saw in this new one, Fires of Rubicon, the graphics were amazing. And it looks like the scenery is going to be fun. Hey, I just realized I helped you win golf with my powers of what? Terribleness. I joined the asylum team and they lost. But you joined their team, but I didn't play with you. You can't say that. You weren't there. You were a backseat filler? Oh, okay. So what is your vibes like bring them down? I don't understand. Oh, the Rubicon is a river which Caesar had to decide whether to cross because it would cut off his supply chain for his army. Thank you, Liam. Okay. On that, that's it. 10:45. I made it, rabbits. There's your 15 minutes. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you all did. This was nice, just talking casually a little bit, you know. But we're all going to head out. Thanks for being here, Cristola. Thanks everyone for being here. Okay. And I'll catch up with you during the week. There's the challenge on Thursday. I do believe several people. Thursday shenanigans, of course, goes live in the evening too. Wednesday, JL is doing Week in Horror. If you want to follow over on that, okay. And then Friday, I don't know, maybe Jujubee, maybe not. Who knows? And then Saturday, of course, come back here for Mrs. Cassandra and I. We are definitely doing something Saturday night. Okay, and Sunday I may do another casual live stream for you all if you're interested. Well, I'll definitely keep up. You're welcome, Rapids. I would like to do it again. I would. And godless little history note here: the Rubicon is a river in Italy. The phrase "crossing the Rubicon" comes from Julius Caesar's crossing in 49 BC. So that is confirmed twice now by both Liam and Godless. Good information. Thank you so much. Yep, that answer was definitely for me because I wasn't sure, and I appreciate it when you guys like fill me in because then I don't have to go Google this afterwards. I could cross it off. Yeah, Ashley, just trying to do my content. I'm trying to get back into the swing of it. But it was good to see you here again. And again, people, like, share, comment on this video, okay? And with any questions you have. And anybody who wants to do one of those searchable am I the assholes, get in touch with me. Anybody that wants to do a library chat on anything that you see or hear that is basically something you want to get out there and discuss with the people, just hit me up. I love those conversations and we'll try to do both sides of it. But as long as you're respectful, everything is open for discussion. Yep. So actually, I see everybody saying that they will in the chat, but you gotta contact me privately in DMs and all. So I actually get you on the schedule and we work out times and all. I've got a list. Rabbits. Rabbits, I'd love to do an MID asshole with you or anything. Anybody. Come on. Y'all. I'm not gonna shy away from any conversation at all. Thank you for dropping Mousie's link. Mousie, when are you going live? I know she goes live during the week. Is it going to be tonight? Can somebody tell me when Mousie goes live this week? I know Grace is going on Thursday. Grace and Mrs. Cassandra and Carly are going on Thursday. And Cristola goes periodically during the week. And she's always in the middle of the night and I miss it. Thank you for dropping the links there, Mrs. Cassandra, for Mousie, for Shenanigans, and for Jujubee. And Mousie just told me she goes Wednesday and Sunday. So we've got JL Warren going earlier on Wednesday. And I think, Mousie, you go later. If I remember, like my time, it's usually towards 10 o'clock. Okay. And then on Sunday also, she goes later. Then I know when Jujubee and I went live this week, she went after us. So there you go. I know. I'm in Doubtingville too. I thought Mousie went to sleep hours like a while ago. Didn't she leave to go to sleep? But she was hiding in the background. But I'm glad she popped out. So everybody go see her tomorrow. For now, let's go. I'm gonna check out before Rabbits gets another 15 minutes out of me. But no problem. Thank you all for being here. I hope you have a really good night. I hope to see you for the challenge on Thursday.